Hi, this is Aditya.
And this is Vivek.
And welcome to Coffee Time Gyan. And today we have a very interesting topic that we are covering today, that is the tokenization of card transaction, which has caused a sort of a buzz in the market and a lot of confusion in the market. So we will try to sort of throw some clarity on the topic. And so Vivek, where do we start with this topic?
So, I was thinking if you could give everybody a background into what is this tokenization thing that has been making waves of recent times, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So, Vivek, tell me, what is tokenization? Why are people so confused? And simplify it for us. Don't go into the details. Just simplify it for us.
Yeah. So basically, to simply put it across, what tokenization is, it's nothing more than pseudonymization. Basically means to jumble up in a random order your card information details, whether it is a credit card or a debit card, and generate a unique key, which is no more than, not a physical key. It's just basically a character set of, 16 to 18 digits, right? That would be used in place of your existing card details as a substitute so as to protect your card information. So that is, in a nutshell, the very simple gist of what tokenization is and it aims to deliver.
So, summing it up, it would be referring to replacement of the actual card details with an alternate code that would be called, say, a token in this case.
Correct. So, in this context, for tokenization, what the RBI has thought of essentially is that they are going to substitute this information and they are going to ensure that the token that is generated, right, that is at a merchant and a device level unique. So essentially, to give you an example, so you would have a unique token for each one of your devices with each merchant. Like, let's say you have an account on Amazon, I believe, right?
Yes.
So for Amazon, let's say you have a debit card with, let's say ICICI Bank, right? So what will happen is, post tokenization, let's say you're trying to make a purchase through your phone with the Amazon app with your ICICI card. So that combination, your phone, your ICICI card and Amazon, that will be used as a predetermined criteria or combination to determine what the unique token would be. Similarly, for the same set of variables, instead of, let's say, using your phone, you're using your laptop, that will have a different token. So as you can see, although it is the same card and the same vendor, but since it is a different device, the token changes. So also, this will enhance the security measures that you already have in place by making it much more stringent, right?
So who are the parties or the stakeholders in this sort of a tokenized transaction? Who are these parties who are required to comply with the notification that the RBI has provided lately?
So basically, as we were discussing before, right? So before the recording, rather, that this notification came out in early 2020, and post that the main master direction and all came out in September of 2021. Correct. So at that point of time, what the RBI had essentially specified is every intermediary. Now, when I say intermediary, I mean an entity or a business, that is providing you either goods or certain services, right?
Okay.
Against which you are making a payment, which is not your bank or any bank for that matter, and is not a payment network provider. So what I mean by payment network provider is essentially Visa, MasterCard, RuPay, these kinds of entities, right? Barring them, everybody is required to comply with this tokenization requirement, and they are within the timeline that has been specified, required to carry out all the necessary changes. Now, when I say the necessary changes, they are required to delete or erase all existing card information that they had, which is why you would have seen in recent times that many of these Swiggy and all are requesting you to comply with the new RBI mandate and reauthorize your card. Essentially, they had to delete the data that they had on your card, and now it's being substituted with the token, which is why you're being asked to reauthorize.
So overall, what you're saying, particularly it will involve merchants, merchant acquirers, card payment networks, token issuers and customers essentially, right? Okay, so
payment networks are not included. Payment networks are payment networks and banks, they are excluded. Because for the simple reason, your bank has issued your card, right? So they will already have that information, correct? And the card network, Visa or MasterCard, they also know your card information because they are the ones who authorize that card which your bank has issued. So naturally, they'll be exempt.
It's great that you're talking about this with such clarity because I've been confused myself because it's just lately I read up on it and I was utterly confused as to what do I have to do as a consumer in order to say get my card tokenized and everything. So this really clears up a lot of it. So
Right.
yeah, so moving on, when is it becoming applicable?
So basically in this context, it is becoming applicable, originally the date was 1st of January 2022. Then, the adoption at that time was still very low. So the RBI extended it to 1st of July 2022, right? Which is the next week Friday, as on the day when we are shooting this. But that also, since although there has been great momentum, I believe 16 crore plus cards or something have been tokenized thus far. But there are still many merchants who have not, gone ahead and made the necessary changes of the tokenization. And since, there has to be a decent, if not a, large adoption for it to be made effective, because otherwise, if it doesn't work out that way, the system will not succeed, right? So the RBI has now gone ahead and extended the timeline to 1st of October 2022. Now, I would hope that the 1st of October 2022 would be a decent time because 16 crore plus card information has been tokenized, and that is a fairly large number, right? So, here's hoping that at least by October we have some movement in this sphere and, this becomes a complete mandate instead of a partial mandate which has been adopted by most of the large scale players, but there are also smaller players who are still, taking steps to implement it, let's say.
So from what I'm getting, from whatever you've said so far, I feel like there are certain benefits to tokenization. That is one of the benefits that comes off right off the top of my head would be a tokenized card transaction could be considered safer because the actual card details are not being shared with the merchant during the transaction or the process. So that itself, I think, ensures a certain degree of safety in terms of in light of sort of the recent data leaks and the sort of attacks that we are seeing.
Oh, absolutely. Because I will tell you why. The reason for this is this tokenization thing, you can say that it's one of the pioneer pilot move projects, right? As was the case with the UPI network, right? It's revolutionary because why I'll tell you is this tokenization thing, although it's going to be a pain for end consumers to, go ahead and once again reauthorize all of their cards.
And that too device wise, like you said, it would be different for a different device.
Correct. But once done, the beauty of the system is that it almost entirely eliminates any chance of your financial information, in this case specifically being your card details, being leaked in case of any data breach, any hacking attempt or anything, because nobody barring your bank and your card network has this card information anywhere. So you could now very easily go on websites like Shopify, Amazon, Swiggy, whatever, right? Without any headache in mind that if I save this card information and if they get hacked, not saying that they will, again, don't quote me, but if it happens, right, they're safe. Their card information is safe and they don't have to be worried about anything. Because even if the hacker or the person who committed the data breach, right, obtains the information, they have just obtained the token. Now, like I said, each token is paired with a device. So if they do not have the device, even having the token, they won't get the information to execute transactions.
Exactly. The process of de-tokenization, that is what I would get at. In order to decrypt the data that is there, it is very sort of what you said is device specific. Which really ensures a lot of, and here's to all the listeners who are listening that if you're in India and you're our listener, you definitely should get your card tokenized. And as Viveka mentioned, the last date would be October, right?
October 1, 2022.
The time to come. Exactly. So I think it's a great move on the part of the government also, and the sort of payment networks and everything to come together to bring up such a nice advanced sort of a payment system in order. Because I think, like what you said, Vivek, eventually I've come to realize, like, most of the time we see a lot of complaints. I'm sure you have also dealt with those as a lawyer, that a lot of people get their cards stolen, or they get their cards, like their data, financial data being leaked in the dark web. We see tons of cases like this right now whether it's in India or all around the world.
Correct.
For that matter. And I think, yeah, this definitely is a step towards sort of, like regulating a certain space which hasn't been regulated as effectively as now.
Yeah, correct. So see, this is a way of tackling at it, a very unique solution, a very beautiful solution. Because if you notice, right, so again, one thing I wanted to add, which I forgot to add before, is that this tokenization thing, right, although it is giving you an additional layer of security, at the same time, the RBI is not removing the two-factor authentication mandate that is there for executing transactions. So you have that additional layer of security as well. Correct. Now, what happens is, in other geographies, if you look at the American economy or the European economy, right, in many cases, what happens is, in order to execute a transaction, you simply need the card details, i.e. the card number, the expiry date, the CVV, and the person's name, and you can execute any transaction as so long as you have those details, right?
Exactly.
So in India, we had this additional step before, wherein you would need to have the OTP in order to authenticate the transaction, even if you came in possession of the card details. But now with tokenization, like, you can't do anything literally, right?
Yeah.
Like, that eliminates, like, unless, now new things come up which try to combat this tokenization. But I feel that, we are still some time, at least a
we are
decade
safe for some time.
happens.
We are safe for some time before a hacker actually figures out how to do it. But be rest assured, somebody will. Be rest assured.
Yeah,
somebody.
but in the meanwhile, that's the thing. Like, in the meanwhile, we have some comfort.
Exactly.
So beautiful initiative. Really appreciate it. I sincerely hope that it succeeds and gets the traction and momentum that we've seen with the UPI network also, which was a similar such initiative. And just to sum up, I would say one of the beautiful things additionally about this is that this has potential to be used by other economies as well, just as the case is with the UPI network, right, which has been adopted by few other Asian countries as well.
Definitely.
Right, and this is something that India can also do a technology transfer.
Definitely.
For other network, for other economies as well. So yeah, that's in summary. But yeah, Aditya, so do you want to add on a few things?
I think we are at the end of this episode. It was a short one as we intended it to be. As a concluding note, I just wanted to summarize everything you have said. One of them is like what tokenization is, which it refers to replacement of the actual card details with an alternative code that is called the token.
Yeah.
Secondly, I want to leave out the links to all these. If there are any further FAQs or any further questions that our listeners have, I'm going to leave the link to the RBI notification and the FAQs, which will definitely help you, be more aware and be more clear about what this concept is. And that's about it. Share, subscribe, and that's about it, I think, for today. Is there anything else you would want to add?
Yeah, follow us for more Coffee Time Gyan, I guess.